so the fashion blockchain.
Yes.
And like, let's say I'm an average person. I had never heard about the word blockchain technology. How
Yes.
would you explain it to me?
Perfect. So basically, blockchain, I think James Oliver, I think, or John Oliver is his name, he said, the blockchain is everything we don't understand about money with everything we don't understand about technology, which I love as a saying. But the way I will explain blockchain will be, yes, it's the simplest way to put it is just a distributed database. So is stored somewhere. It's a database that is owned by everybody who's participating and is distributed between everybody. So what this gives you is a high level of security. And in the other hand, what the blockchain also gives you is the ability to have unique digital assets for the first time. Because until now, if we have something digital, you can duplicate it and duplicate it and right? You can like copy a picture and send it dozens of times or whatever. And the blockchain really allows you to make these unique but digital assets.
Yeah,
which is great.
And I think also the very important part of a blockchain, it's a decentralized structure.
Exactly.
So we takes out the middleman, because right now it's a bank or a platform that owns a system, and with blockchain, it's a peer-to-peer. So with many other computers, let's say.
Yes, exactly. So it distributes basically between everybody who's participating. For example, us at Lukso, we will start a blockchain, certainly, but that gives us no power above it. Like we cannot, I mean, at the beginning, we design it, right? We set the rules, but once it's running, we have no power above it more than anybody else. Like we have as much power as anybody, anywhere who might download a Lukso node and run it. They will have as much power as we do. So that's a very interesting concept to have, especially as an entrepreneur. You create something that, yes, you made it, but it doesn't belong to you in a way, right? You have all the benefits, but so does everybody else. So I think it's a very novel concept. And beyond technology, it's kind of like a philosophical also kind of change of how we do things.
Yeah, and there are many blockchain systems. Lukso is a blockchain for fashion industry. So what is Lukso and how will it work in fashion industry?
Perfect, wonderful, great question. So blockchain was started basically by cryptographers, right? So it's a very technical technology started by very technical people and has wonderful real life applications. And all of this innovation is happening in the open source world. It's all open source. It's made by people. It's not made by corporations. And right now, in the last, let's say, 2 years, in my experience, we see a lot of enterprise trying to engage with blockchain because they see a huge opportunity. But we have a problem that the systems that we have right now, they are open to everybody. So if you as a company will want to deploy any enterprise level use case, you will have tons of difficulties to do it in the open source space because it's all public, and these blockchains are completely full in their capacities. They have too many people using them. So that's what the idea for doing a blockchain for industry specific was born. I mean, me and my colleagues, we have the thesis that the next wave of blockchain will be industry driven, not coming anymore from open source developers. I mean, we still remain open source, but it will come with an industry and enterprise objective to achieve. And why we wanted to do Lukso is, well, basically there are values of the blockchain and opportunities that the blockchain allows that resolve a lot of problems that the fashion industry had and many other industries, but at the same time creates this very industry foundation level for a potential future that we don't know exactly how it looks like, but we know we are changing rapidly. We know business models are changing rapidly. Companies that used to be leaders 20 years ago, they're being disrupted now, so it's another part of it. So basically what the blockchain can do very well and what we want to do with Lukso is authentication. You can do it very well with the blockchain. So you resolve the authentication conundrum, right? You buy an asset, you buy a beautiful handbag, Hermes or Chanel or whatever. All you get is this plastic card. If you lose it, you have problems in the future to prove the authenticity. And even the companies who made these items, sometimes they cannot even tell the difference between the reals and the fakes. So with blockchain technology, we can create a very secure registry of authenticity.
Yeah.
And therefore allow,
Yeah. And this is really important, I think, because like brands, luxury houses, they are struggling with this issue for years and years without solving it.
Solution, there's no solution. Yeah.
And I mean, it's one thing to buy like your Chanel or Vuitton in their store at first.
Yes.
But maybe you want to buy a second hand. Maybe you want to sell this bag after a while.
Right.
And then I think there are many brands working with QR codes.
QR codes, yes.
Yeah, and which can also be easily copied.
Yeah, replicated. Yes.
And
it makes no difference.
what you are working on with Lukso is this Lukso One, the chip.
Yes.
Which will, I think, in the manufacture process will be integrated.
That's right.
So each item has its own code
identity
signature.
Yes, their own. It's even more interesting because with the blockchain, a lot of people talks about things that sounds about economy and Internet of Things, and basically what you can do is you can give everything an identity. So your handbag, beyond having a code, can have its own identity, and that identity can have claims such as, sure, was made by Chanel in Paris with the letter that they got from Italy, was made in this date. You could add all of these interesting data points from the provenance of the handbag to the handbag. So more beyond a code, you have an identity. And in the moment of the purchase, you can then associate the identity of the bag to your identity as an owner. Also, blockchain-based identities. So you have this very interesting identity dynamics. You can create identity for items, for companies, for users, and they can interact. So for example, you and I let's say I have a Hermes handbag in a safe in Switzerland. You want to purchase from me, because the identity is certified in the blockchain, it's real, that I'm actually the owner. I can make the transfer to you without ever seeing each other. I can give you the access to the safe in Switzerland without me even moving from here. And you can just go there and take it out. If you will ever want to take it out, you can just leave it there, resell it, or do whatever you want. So it allows for all of these new kinds of interactions between consumers, secondhand markets, brands, and the access. For example, now if you buy the Hermes bag from me, Hermes has no relationship to you. And you're a potential client from whom they're not harvesting. They cannot approach you right now. With blockchain technology, they can still reach you through the identity of the handbag. So they know the handbag changed hands. They don't know who you are, so your identity is safe, but they know there's a new owner, and they can send, for example, an invitation to that handbag, and you will receive it because now you're the owner. And they can incentivize you to go to the store, to come to an event. So they have this reach, this access to clients, even the second or the third owner of an item. That is something that they don't have right now.
Yeah. So let's talk about this Hermes bag. So now I will buy your bag on Lukso with Lix, the token.
No, not necessarily. Well, that could be. You could do that. I mean, that's interesting with the blockchain. You could build all of these dynamics. You could still build. It's a matter of like how you build the interfaces. So the interface might be using in the background, might use Lux token if we will want to do so. You could also use your credit card information, right? So in order to transact, I mean, in the moment we do a transaction, for example, when the handbag leaves my ownership to your ownership, that transaction did cost an amount of Lux on the blockchain, but it's a minimal amount. It's like a few cents that the transaction will cost. The payment between you and I, we could do it very old-fashioned, let's say, with PayPal or whatever.
Okay.
But you could still, I think it depends of how the technology will evolve. I think in the first phases, the Lukso token will be more for B2B interactions and to cover this cost of transacting in the blockchain. I don't think users necessarily will engage at this level, or only very early adopters will do so. But it's a matter of see how the adoption goes and how. But you could definitely do it with Lux. You could definitely do it with Ether. That would be very exciting.
But if I don't have any Ether or
Lux
other
or
cryptocurrencies, I can buy it.
Still participate.
In the old way.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
I have a very practical question about this. Yeah. How do I know then the bag I will purchase and you will give me is the bag with the chip? So how the chip will communicate with the bag? So is this an application on the phone? I will
Yes, so you will have, this is one of the challenges and the exciting parts of the work that we have to do, is to create these interface and interfaces that are very compelling, right? Because until now, blockchain is extremely technical. So everybody says how does it happen? It happens in the air, in the ether. How do I do it? It's where is that stuff happening? So yes, definitely. You will have your phone, my iPhone and most smartphones right now, they have NFC scanners. So you can scan you can read pretty much any RFID chip and many other chips. So you will be able to scan with your, if you have the bag in front of you, you will be able to scan with your mobile. That's the bag that we are claiming to be. If not, if you are not there, if you're remotely, I will transfer you the digital ownership, which in our very dematerialized world is going to be, in my opinion, very valuable, right? If you don't have the digital ownership of an item, I think eventually you will not want to have it. You will want to have both. You want to have the physical object, and you also want to have the digital certificate that is perpetual, and they have all the interesting information about the item and gives you access and all of these amazing experiences that we can build around the users and the brands when you have this direct level of communication.
Yeah, I think the idea is great. I think really it's amazing, and it will change so much, because I'm thinking about platforms like Vestiaire Collectif, eBay, because for example, today it's very hard to buy and sell on eBay, these luxury items there.
Yes.
It's complicated. One platform, this Vestiaire Collectif, is when you browse around, there's so you see so many advices, because actually they say that they do the verification with experts.
Yes.
And they take huge fees.
Yes, they do. Yes, they
do. Will Lukso shortcut all these platforms they're making money on in this market?
We possibly, in a way, they will, because obviously we will have a 0.0, let's say, which hopefully we will having all these digital identities for items, but you will still have all the items that were produced before. So this will need some kind of authentication process that is manually based. But in a way, definitely, Vestiaire Collectif can take a huge chunk of money because they are the middlemen, and they offer a service and nobody else is offering this. They go to the conundrum of authenticating those items for you. There's a lot of people who question if that's been done properly, which is also a big question. So they are taking the responsibility and the liability for it. Hopefully they are. But yes, that's the thing, where you have these middleman infrastructures that they take a big chunk. And if I can interact with you and you with me without having to know each other or even trust each other, right? Because the only reason why we have middlemen is because we need to put the trust in somebody. So we both trust Vestiaire Collectif. So you and I interact through them, because we don't have a platform that allows us to trust each other directly. But if we will have something in which doesn't matter, we don't trust each other, it's fine. But technology supports us to have very secure interactions directly with one another, I think that's very, very powerful.
Indeed, I think it's very, very powerful. What I want to talk about is at this moment there are some other fashion blockchains, blockchain startups around. What I'm worrying is I think this doesn't make sense, because what we need in the fashion industry is like a standard. And this is why Lukso is also interesting, because it's an open source.
Yes, so that's the idea. So what differentiates us from our potential competitors is that beyond the authentication use case, which we think is very powerful, we are developing the layer underneath. So we are creating a whole new separate blockchain with the fashion industry in mind, meaning that all the smart contracts, all the standards, all the governance will be built around that specific industry. So we're going beyond just the use case, we're going on the platform level. And so, for example, another service providers who want to authenticate items, they could do it also using our platform. So we can be competitors and be in the same platform, what I think is also very exciting. So we kind of like actually encourage people to do so, like do the same that we're doing, come and do it also in a platform. We're completely fine with it. But I completely agree with you. And one of the reasons why blockchain technology has become so powerful is because you have these standards and people are following certain standards. So the idea will be that's one of our main goals. And my partner, Fabian Vogelsteller, he comes from the blockchain sphere, and he has developed very successful standards for blockchain till now. So what we want to do is to create those standards so things are cross-compatible, right? It makes no sense to have these silos. Nobody is completely faithful to one brand, right? We love several brands and we love them all, and we want to interact with all of our items equally. So I think technology, what can allow us is to kind of make those silos disappear. And if we can have standards for, let's say, the identity of a handbag, the handbag might be Hermes, Chanel, Celine, whatever, but the identity should follow the same standards, so we can all be cross-compatible. And whatever app I use, oh, sorry, I'm getting a phone call. Sorry. Always, this thing's always. Okay, wait a second. Oh my God. Sorry. Everything rings at the same time. It's impossible to make it stop ringing. It's ringing everything. Oh God.
No problem.
Yes, give me a second
Yeah.
to just tell this person, I think. Oh, Jesus. Okay, just give me a second. I think this should be solved now. Okay, excuse me, sorry for that.
No problem.
So yes, so basically, yes, so what it gives you is the ability to have cross-compatibility. And I think going back to the whole, we are not faithful to one brand, and we need to have this possibility of creating identities for everybody. They are cross-compatible, is super powerful. So what we want to do is to create the standards for which that they are so good in a way that everybody will adopt them, including people who are technically our competitors.
Yeah, and so basically what you want is, or what the goal is that this structure of Lukso that you developed with Fabian,
yes,
can be used by these different fashion brands.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that's the goal. So that is in our multi-tier strategy, let's say. We approach brands and we come to them, and most of them, they're very aware of blockchain technology. It's something I didn't expect them to be. We're going to say like, okay, so you can use this platform. These are the benefits. Like to partner with us and continue. And the great thing about blockchain is if even, for example, our platform were not to succeed, or we will not, for example, deliver what we promise, brands and users and startups, they could take the data that they store in our blockchain and fork to a different blockchain. So this is a completely new paradigm. For example, we cannot take all of our data that we have in Google, our emails, and just all of a sudden put it, I mean, we could just forward emails, but it's not the same, right? Because we have decentralized structures that don't allow us to just take stuff and move it somewhere else. With blockchain, even if Lukso were not to succeed, the risk is pretty low because you can still take the smart contracts, you can still take the content and deploy it in a different blockchain, which I think is amazing.
When you approach the brands, how are you received? What are the reaction? Because just one thing, I mean, I'm like for many years in the fashion industry, and when I think about like a group like LVMH or Kering,
yes,
I mean they are like rivals.
yes, yes, yes,
I
yes.
mean, the only time when I saw they did something in common was like a year or two ago about a model standard for models, how to treat models. But I mean, this tough business world. So how would you get the brands to basically,
yes.
collaborate? Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this is a huge paradigm shift. I mean, possibly at the beginning, it will be very hard for us to have LVMH and Kering simultaneously. I mean, I can see myself the challenge, though that case specifically is like Capulets and how's the other, Romeo and Juliet, you know, like they don't mix. I think there are many other brands who are more open to be together in a platform. But nevertheless, we shouldn't forget that even though they feel like they will collaborate, they don't necessarily have to do anything with each other. Right? Like they can be in the same blockchain and still be arch enemies. You know, we all at the end use the same internet and walk the same streets and put retail shops in the same malls. So it's not that much difference, right? The thing is, of course, because blockchain is inherently distributes power, it has a certain level of transparency, makes brands not necessarily want to be in the same place with somebody they don't like. So, but I think it's a matter of time and adoption. Once brands see the benefits of being in the same place, they will. Just like we have, like, you know, like Kudam here in Berlin, or many streets in the world where you have all of these amazing brands all next to each other because it makes sense for them to be in the same street. Eventually they will come to a similar consensus when it comes to blockchain technology. But I think for now, we will have a huge period of transition where we will not have those very strong competitors together, sadly. Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah. It's maybe also because the blockchain tech is still very new, I think. And I was just wondering if they will to try to develop their own tech, like instead of using Lukso.
Yeah, I mean, definitely this is a question we have been, we heard, this is off the record. We heard many times that they are doing attempts internally. Now, on the record, they do know that it makes no sense for them to start a blockchain by themselves because it has no credibility, right? A blockchain, you can only trust if you have more than one party engaging. Because then there's no level of security. There's no transparency. I mean, that person, that central authority, if let's say, I don't know, Kering or Richmond, they would start their own blockchains, that would be great for the internal operations within their own brands, right? And their suppliers. That would be fantastic. And I think they should do it. But they will never be able to build a level of trust to the outside world because as they are owning, in a way they can manipulate the rules of the blockchain, right? The blockchain is only secure when you have many people participating, because then you will have to convince all of them to cheat, right? And right now, for example, Ethereum, with millions and millions of users, you will have to each one independently convince them to cheat, which is already Herculean concept, right? Already to convince 5 people. So that's what makes it so safe. So if you will only one group, that's not a blockchain. I mean, that would be in a way more like a PR stunt, more than real technology. So yes, I mean, for the outside world, they have to have some kind of partnership with somebody from their own industry. So they will have to be competitors in a way. They should be together.
Yeah. Do you already have some brands you can tell me who will use Lukso blockchain?
I cannot tell you, but I promise as soon as we can tell you, will be the first person we will let know. But right now, no, I mean, we have a lot of, we're a lot in the work in progress. I mean, with some brands, we're very ahead and we are right there, right before making a real agreement. There's some informal with other brands are at the early stages. What is very interesting is every time we talk to a brand, when they get excited about it, because there's this point at the beginning, they're very skeptical about the technology, and then they get excited because they see, oh wow, this is a huge new world of possibilities. Then they say, oh, I hope you're only talking to us. So they always expect you to don't talk to anybody but them, because they think that's their competitive advantage, to be the first or the only ones. But I think this is a cultural change that we will see with decentralization. That at the end, we will all have pretty much the same tools. It's just about who is creating the biggest value. And then that person might be the leader of the pack. But just by trying to control technology information, I think those years are very quickly over. I mean, the world is moving in a different direction, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's I'm curious to see how this is work, because on the other hand, we see like for like a year or two, we have this huge discussion about this buy now, see now,
yeah,
buy now,
see now, buy now, yes.
which revealed like this really different state of mind within the fashion industry. So I'm curious. I'm hoping that this blockchain technology will take off. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think right now, and especially the fashion industry, I think they have been. I mean, it's a very successful industry, so they have very few incentives to change. Right? When you're doing very well, you think, why should I change? But we have seen it with other industries, right? The music industry, the film industry, they all have been faced with what digitalization can do to you if you don't adapt your business model. And you may eventually have no business at all. It's really difficult to think about that when we think about fashion. But at the same time, I think they have changed so little. Like, it's pretty much, we buy still the same items since the last 60, 70 years. Very little have changed. And I think consumers, we have more options. We have larger economical power. We have access to anything. So I think that gives brands the responsibility to deliver more than just items, because they have more educated customers and consumers now. So I think I love handbags. I think I love them. I think they're amazing. But if you think pragmatically about them, there's no big difference between a handbag and a shopping bag. I mean, they do the same function. So it's about the beauty and the craftsmanship and the heritage. And I think if technology allows you to preserve that information, and actually as a consumer have real access to that information, right? I mean, we believe Chanel has this heritage, but we know nothing about the items. We love them, we buy them, we work the shop and we feel fantastic, but we know nothing about them. So technology can allow you to have this real experience with these items and really appreciate for what they are, and give you adore and start a relationship with the brand in the moment you purchase. Sometimes it's over in the moment you purchase, then your relationship is over. And that's the point where the relationship with the brands should start. I think technology will provide that, and blockchain technology especially will provide that for consumers, startups, and brands alike.
Yeah. Do you think you will also like do that with the clothing?
Definitely. I mean, right now, as you know, blockchain technology works perfectly fine, works nonstop, does its jobs beautifully, but it's a very slow-moving computer, if you would like to call it like that.
Yes.
So it's not very fast.
Problem, other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the scalability issue. So you cannot have very large volumes of production right now on the blockchain. I mean, even now there are new solutions coming. They increase the output power by 1,000x. That sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot when you think about enterprise production level. So that's why we are aiming first the higher tier, like very luxurious items, especially handbags, because they're easier to implement technology than in, let's say, in a watch, which is very difficult to put any extra technology on it. But then eventually we would love to scale that to, beautiful garments, beautiful jackets, and then as the technology gets better, implement it in almost every layer of them.
Yeah, like production, protection of creation of models they're created by the designers. So I think we're gonna wrap up because I see time is running, and I appreciate your time. So one or two questions I have left. For 2018, 2019, what are the goals for Lukso? Like, what are you rolling out? And is the initial coin offering, when is it coming?
Yes. So the public ICO, yes, will take place on the fall, and we will be doing something very novel that is called a reversible ICO, meaning the investors can withdraw their money within a period of time, just to make it fair. We are claiming to deliver. People who invested their money, they have the capability of withdrawing that money again, just to create a very fair layer between us and investors. We saw in blockchain space these super large ICOs and people just run away with the money. So we want to make a statement on that we're very serious about what we're doing. We're engaged and committed to make it successful. So that will happen on the fall. That is 20% of the tokens will be available, and it's open to the public. To anybody anywhere in the planet who wants to participate, they can do that. Right now, our goals for this year is definitely the ICO. Our testnet is on the making, and continue the conversations with brand and creating real long-lasting partnerships with them. And for next year, this summer, we want to launch the mainnet, the official definitive Lukso mainnet, which will be open to everybody to see and utilize. So that's the goal. And hopefully by the moment they will launch in the summer next year, we will have already enterprise level use cases running on the blockchain. So that's why we're not launching now. We're waiting to launch because we want to launch with brands actually using
on board. Yeah.
Yes.
Of course. And regarding the ICO, that the investment is partially refundable. It's very unusual for an ICO.
Yes. It will be the first one.
Yeah, you were the first. Why is this important for you? Is this the state of mind, the philosophy from the founders, like you, Fabian, and the others?
Yeah, definitely. That's very important, especially for Fabian and myself. I mean, Fabian is a thought leader in the blockchain space. He made very successful standards, and he was partially responsible for the ICO madness from last year. So he wants to also, for him, make a statement that you can still do ICOs in a very serious fashion, that they are fair to the investors. And if we are not delivering, people should be allowed to say, I don't support that project anymore. For me, it's equally important. I feel, when you collect a serious amount of money, people sometimes lose the incentive to actually deliver the work because they feel like they're already successful, only because they collected money. For me, it's very important that we keep our goal very clear. This is what we want to achieve. An ICO doesn't mean a successful project. It's just a step within the logics of the blockchain project. But definitely it's a cultural and philosophical mindset, in the sense that we want to be fair, transparent, and live what we are preaching in a way. Yes.
What is the goal? What is the number for the ICO?
The goal, it will be between 20 and 30 millions.
Okay.
Which in blockchain space is a very conservative number. We believe that is more than sufficient for the development that we have to do. And the money will be during a period of 2 years. People can withdraw their money. So the longer the time pass by, the more money is going to the project. So the less money people can withdraw back. But basically, from the moment you commit your money, you have 2 years to slowly get your money back. You will always get a percentage. Let's say after 1 year, you will get 50% of your money back and 50% of the Lux token that you purchase at the beginning.
Okay.
And so we'll go.
Yeah.
Yes.
I suppose you have your own crypto wallet?
We will develop our own wallet, especially for I really want to incentivize women to also participate in blockchain and cryptocurrencies and everything. Right now it's very male centric. I think we need more women utilizing the technology, so definitely we will create our own wallet that is very attractive for females and males as well. So,
and do you have your what do you have yourself? You have Ether?
Me as a person?
Yeah.
Mostly Ether. I have like some Bitcoins in my phone just because it's fun always. You can pay stuff online sometimes. It's a lot of fun. I mean, if you haven't done it, Tanya, you have to do it. It's so much fun. I mean, it's automatically, it just happens. It's beautiful. So mostly Ether, and we have a couple of other coins, IOTA and stuff like that. Projects that I support and that I like, and I think they're doing a great job. So yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Last question. Who is the women? Who is the women in the blockchain crypto world that you admire, that you is a role model for you or is inspiring you?
In blockchain, well, there's so many women that I think, I don't know if I will call them role models, but there are a lot of women who I think they're doing an amazing job. Especially, there's an Austrian friend of mine who was based in Berlin. Now she's back in Austria. Her name is Sherming Vogelsteller. And she has been, since the beginning, when there were no women in blockchain, she was right there, and she did a very beautiful job she's not a technical person, but she did a beautiful job into translating the technology into that is accessible for everybody. So we need more people doing jobs like that because it's very important.
Yeah,
yes,
of course.
I can send you her name later.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great.
Yes, it's a difficult name.
Yeah.
It's not an easy one.
Marjorie, thank you so much for your time, and this is very, very interesting. So let's keep in touch, and let's have more women in blockchain and crypto.
Yes, please. Thank you, Tanya. It was lovely talking to you. And if you have any questions or anything, or if you want to download a Bitcoin wallet, just send me a message, and we are there.
Great.
For anything you
Thank you so much, and wish you a great day. Thank you, Marjorie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Likewise. Bye.
Bye-bye.